Welcome to Beyond the Surface, the podcast. From the ancient practice to its modern day symbolism, we dive beyond tattooing and its connection to our inner selves. I'm your host, Caroline. Welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Beyond the Surface, the podcast. A space where we dive beyond the surface of tattoos and really dive into the energy that the ink in our skin holds. So today I thought, what better way of starting this podcast out than to go back in time and start from the beginning. So today I want to talk about the history of tattoos so that we may understand them a bit better and understand how they came to be in our culture. So tattoos have been a part of human history for thousands of years, as we all know, and it has origins dating back to ancient civilizations. If people only knew how many years tattooing has been around, I really think they would respect it in a different way. There's been evidence of tattooing being found in various cultures across the globe, from Egypt and China to Polynesia and the Americas. And these early tattoos were often symbols of status or spirituality, as well as the identity. And they served as markers of cultural heritage and rites of passage. So let's say you got married or you had a kid or you became an adult, then you'd get these tattoos, and the ink would, for example, be what was around in the area that you lived. So getting a tattoo in the olden days was a really special ritual. It was a really big thing. You didn't get it like today, we go on Pinterest and we just find something that we like. But back in the days, it was like from the beginning, like the start of the process, collecting the ingredients for the ink to the ritual and getting the tattoo. It was a really special thing. And I don't know if you've heard about this, because I actually only heard about him a few years ago, but the oldest example of a tattooed human so far remains discovered in the Alps between Austria and Italy, and his name is Ötzi. And he's known as Ötzi the Iceman, and he's a 5,300 years old mummy, and he had over 60 tattoos on his body. Yes, you heard right, 60. And scientists, they believe that these tattoos were not just decorative, but they had a therapeutic purpose. And this really indicates that the tattoos might have been served as medicinal functions and spiritual functions, like we said, rites of passage or becoming of age or marriage, like they served a higher purpose. And going to ancient Egypt, tattoos were actually a symbol of religious devotion, oddly enough often found on priestesses and dancers. Now, the art of tattooing also thrived in ancient China, and this is where tattoos were used to mark criminals as a form of punishment. And it's really funny because if you look over to Japan, the tattoos took on a more positive connotation, with intricate designs adorning the bodies of the samurai as symbols of bravery and honor. So from Ötzi the Iceman and having, at least predicting that his tattoos were spiritual and served as like some kind of purpose, to Egypt and China, we can kind of see how tattoos served different functions depending on where in the world they were, because as I said, in China they started out as a punishment. Now, with that being said, what really continues to be the explanation and the meaning behind them is this connection to our higher selves, to our religion, and who we are as a person, and where we belong, and what we identify with. This seems to be the common thing. If we move forward in history, the tattoos have gained significance amongst indigenous tribes worldwide. Like in Polynesia, tattoos known as tatau, and I might be pronouncing it wrong, tadao. They were a rite of passage. Again, we see this a lot coming up. They were a rite of passage signifying maturity and societal status. So each tattoo carried deep cultural and spiritual meaning, reflecting the wearer's heritage and life journey. And I just absolutely love this. And we see it throughout so many different cultures, and basically all of them, that tattoos symbolize your life journey. So moving forward to exploration, because during the age of exploration, European sailors, they encountered these indigenous people with elaborate tattoos that started to spark interest and curiosity. That's at least how the story goes. So this encounter led to the word tattoo entering the English language. And as I said, it derived from the word, actually it's from Tahiti. So in the Tahitian word tatau. So the sailors kind of often adopted these tattoos as mementos of their travels, and the nautical themed tattoos became more popular motifs in the Western world. So how amazing is it? You know, you have different cultures having these different symbols and these ways of doing it, and really exploring their own spirituality and connecting deeper with themselves and their life journeys. And then you have all of these travelers coming in, seeing how it works, and then adapting the art into something of their own. I think this is so beautiful. And now in the 20th century, we saw a complete shift. So from tattoos being a spiritual memento, this spiritual significance of it being a really meaningful thing, to and travelers adopting these different cultural ways of expressing yourself. So in the 20th century, we saw a huge shift in the perception of tattoos, at least in the Western world, because in the early 1900s, tattoos became associated with counterculture movements, and oftentimes they were linked to rebellion and nonconformity. And I think some societies still have that, because I think it's starting to shift, but the real perception of tattoos just haven't changed. Some places that it's still found as a dirty modification of the body or something that is unnecessary. However, I think really now we're seeing a change in society, and tattoos are beginning to gain acceptance, and they're really starting to show that it's an expression and it's a personal storytelling. And so tattoos have just really experienced a renaissance with advancement in technology and techniques, leading to these intricate and detailed, beautiful designs. Now, if you look in the olden days, maybe at least with tattoos that are maybe about 40 years old now, they're really thick, and it's a simple design, and they just look old. Whereas now we have so many people coming together, creating different techniques and having on apprentices that are learning these techniques. And so just really opening up the conversation, I think, and it's just really common to have a tattoo. I don't know about you, but I think here where I am in Denmark, at least 1 out of 3 has a tattoo. So it is very normal nowadays. Now, I don't know about you, but to me at least, I don't think of tattoos as being rebellious or crazy in any way. I think they're a beautiful way of self-expressing. So tattoos today, they just come in various styles. They come from traditional and tribal to realistic and abstract. We have fine line, we have new traditional, just so many different techniques that where each style just really talks to a specific person, where you just know what you love when you look at it. And each tattoo tells a unique story, and it represents the bearer's beliefs and experiences and emotions. Like I said in the first episode, I don't necessarily believe that a tattoo has to have a specific meaning in terms of it, oh, this represents my dead grandfather, or anything like that. For me at least, it is just like the olden days with Ötzi and the other people who have lived before us, that if the tattoo can tell a story without words about how you see yourself, or how you wish to express yourself, or how you wish to see yourself, or how you wish the world sees you, that is really what tattoos is about. That is really what tattoos are about, in my opinion. I really think they bridge the gap between the past and the present, connecting us to our ancestors and allowing us to adorn our bodies in the way that we want to, and really allowing us to express our individuality in creative and meaningful ways, regardless of who you are and what style you want to adorn your body with. I can almost guarantee you it's going to look different from each person to person. Of course, there are styles that very much look like each other, but there are just so many beautiful ways to make it your own. So from the olden days, where it was looked at as this spiritual, beautiful, ceremonial rite of passage, to it now, you can go online and you can find a photo of pretty much everything that you want to get done. And I myself wish to get a bit more back into the past, and I really want tattoos to be, again, meaningful, regardless of if you found it on Pinterest or if you created it yourself. But getting back to the roots of our ancestors, and how it was, to really honor how meaningful they can be, and honor how our ancestors did it. I really want to get back to that. But really short way of explaining the story of tattoos, but I wanted to keep it short and sweet. But it concludes our journey through the history of tattoos. Thank you for diving beyond the surface with me, and for exploring an art form that has stood the test of time, evolving and adapting throughout the centuries. And as always, if you like this episode, please subscribe, share it on your stories. Thank you so much if you leave a review. I am, again, very honored to be here, and thank you so much for listening. See you in the next episode. Bye.